Blessed are you, O Lord, teach me your statutes. The choir of the saints has found the fountain of life and the door of paradise. May I also find the way through repentance. I am the sheep that was lost.
Today is one of my favorite days in the church, the Sunday of Orthodoxy, the victory of Orthodoxy. Today, dear ones, the church has given us a day to celebrate the victory over the heresies that threaten to tear the church apart. This day was established, I believe, in 842 or 849. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look and study some more. But it's given to us to celebrate the last terrible heresy that the church had to overcome. It's the iconoclast heresy. You stand in the midst of windows into heaven, the icons of the Holy Fathers, the Holy Martyrs, the saints, Christ Himself, His Blessed Mother. And you see, this is brought about by the winning of what they call the iconojewels over the iconoclasts. The iconoclasts believed that graven images were against a prohibition in Scripture that thou shalt make no graven image unto you. And that they equated the reverencing of icons to worship, the worship of icons. And we do not worship icons. We do not pray to, but pray through. And this was made abundantly clear, and the iconoclasts were anathematized. And so here we are, dear ones, in the midst of the fullness of the faith, the richness of the history of the church, from the day that Christ ascended into heaven to this day forth. His presence is with us. We do believe that where two or three are gathered in His name, so shall He be. And so here we are, dear ones. The church went through many, many heresies, schisms. Those that were found to be in error were anathematized. One wonders what causes people to fall away from the church. One wonders what causes schisms in the church. And dear one, I'll be very blunt with you about it. It's the devil himself. Because in the guise of human nature, he places upon our minds the very idea that we know better. That we know better than God. He placed it into the mind of Eve in the garden by saying, "Thou shalt not surely die, but your eyes shall be open. Take the apple and eat. You shall have knowledge of both good and evil." And henceforth, to this day, we are in fallen brokenness, even to this day. The pride of arrogance of Satan, and Sataniel in the Hebrew Scriptures, who was once an angel, and it caused his fall because he presumed himself. He will not bow his knee to any god. He presumed upon himself to be an equal to God. And henceforth it is in human nature. That same pride exists today, dear ones. In every single denomination, sect, and schism, and cult, and group that separates themselves from the true church, this is what has been the reason. It's been arrogance. It has been pride. It has been our fallenness. It has been because we presume ourselves to know better than God. I'll tell you, dear ones, people have asked me, why was it necessary for God the Father to send His Son to walk all the way to Calvary, to walk all the way to the cross, to be whipped and scourged and beaten and spit upon, to be nailed to a wooden cross, to be punctured through His side? Why was it necessary for all that? Why was it necessary for Him to endure the crown of thorns? If your God is such a loving God, why would He do this to His own Son? The only answer I was able to come up with is because we as humans don't love perfectly. We as humans do not love in perfection. We as humans are not obedient. For time and time again we fall away. And time again, in my experience of sin, in everyday experience of sin, we fall constantly. But through God's grace and through the giving of His Son, we are given the opportunity to get back up. Come and worship. And you see, that's why it was necessary. This is why it's necessary to have the church upon earth in this way. That though we are imperfect, the church is given to us to be the hospital. Is to be where we are provided the cure. We stand surrounded today by the saints of the church, the fathers, the holy fathers of the church. The Blessed Theotokos, the God-bearer, in her example of obedience, became Theotokos, the God-bearer. We stand before us in awe of the saints, Saint Seraphim of Seraph, Saint Athanasius the Great, Saint Sabas, Saint Isaac of Syria, and the martyrs, John the Baptist, whom we celebrate this day. For lo, they have lopped off my head. Why was it necessary for John to be martyred? For Stephen, first deacon? For all the saints who came, and those who gave their lives for the faith once and for all delivered? The same reasons, dear ones, because we do not love perfectly, and that we do not follow in complete obedience at times. But these saints who were given to us as signs along the way, they all stand before us. Having gone on before us in the great church triumphant, they now stand in the great cloud of witnesses, pointing the way to Christ, and say, lo, the path is before you. Travel this path. Go into Christ, who heals all of our wounds and all of our sorrows and all of our imperfections. You see, this is theosis, dear ones. This is salvation. We must become active participants in our salvation. We do not count on the Holy Spirit doing everything for us. Sometimes He leads us to water. We have to drink. Sometimes it's a well of obedience. Sometimes it's a well to love where we have not loved before. How hard is it to love our enemies? How easy it is to love those who already love us. But we're called to love our enemies as well. We're called to love those who hate us. We're called, even as the executioner prepares to lop off our head, we're called to love the executioner. This is a very hard teaching, dear ones, but it is truth. We're not called to give violence to violence. We are called to give love. We're called to turn the other cheek. This sounds like pacifism to some people. We are also to remember that when Christ said, sell all that you own and purchase a sword. And Peter comes up, as he usually did rashly, here's one, Lord, and Christ said, it is enough. But dear ones, do not mistake me when I say this, is that you are to love your enemies. You are to go forward as the saints have gone on before you. You are to follow their example, as they were following Christ's example. For their eyes were upon Christ. Their eyes were always upon Christ. We're to follow their example through this life. And even though the saints were not perfect, we only get filtered down in history most of the good parts of the saints, but they were people like you and I. They had their weaknesses. They had their inherent battles with sinfulness. But as Christ does not know us by our falling downs, He knows us by the times that we get up. And as such, He calls us by our name. And so, we're to follow their examples forward as Christ. Walking Christ to the people of this world. And we join our voices with the saints every day, and every day that we serve the liturgy. We join the angels and the archangels in the heavenly worship of God. And remember that as it is on earth, shall it be in heaven. So we find that we do participate in the fullness of the faith, the fullness of orthodoxy, the faith once delivered. There is no other that has within it the fullness of the revelation of Christ as salvation. So today when we celebrate the procession of the icons and we sing the hymn, the sonata hymn at the end, think about these things, that you're joining your voices as did your predecessors before you and their predecessors and all the way back into the councils of the church and those men who gave us the gifts, the icons, the gifts of the Bible, the gifts of our faith as we celebrate today. Join your voices. Storm the throne room of heaven with your voices. And let them know that you're here. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.